Good evening, everybody. Let's make sure I'm not muted. I got the tech right this time. How is everybody doing tonight? I hope you all are well. Yes, it's been a while since uh been live, and of course, it's been a kind of a crazy month, So I hope everybody's doing okay out there. Haven't seen anybody. This is yes, I wasn't muted, Elizabeth S. Thank you very much. I hope everybody's doing okay. Let me see who we've got in a live chat tonight before we dive into tonight. This is kind of like an off the cuff kind of live stream. I was planning it for yesterday, but I got called to take care of something important, and my queen takes priority, so I wasn't able to stream yesterday. But hey, end of the month. End of the month. It's a couple days before my birthday. Why not just go ahead and do a summary of what went down in the month of May and the fun and the interesting stuff that happened while we were out of town. So before we get started, let's see who we have in the live chat tonight. I see Raven Darkstars here. Good to see you, Raven. Seeking Truth. Good to see you. See Elizabeth S. Thank you so much for being here. Clive Wells as well says hello, hello. Good to see you, Clive. Who else we got? Fangirl98. Good to see you. So good to see you. I know it's been a minute. Wrote an OS name. Good to see you as well. Says Off Balance Washing Machine Heavy Metal. Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually thinking about changing the live stream intro, of like updating the live stream intro, because I actually like my Stage of Reason intro better than this one. So I just put more thought into the Stage of Reason one, and I put more production value into that one. So I actually like that. So I'm thinking about updating this one and making it better, finding new music, because this one feels like it's getting kind of stale. So I just don't use that often. But yep, good sound. Sounds 5x5. Excellent. 5x5. What does it even mean? 5x5. Let me see. Really good to see you. It is a mad world. Yes, Casey Cooper. Good to see you. Well met to you. Oh, well, it has been it's been wild. So for those, I mean, if you were following along, and if you watched the last live stream I did with Tony, I took a trip up to, I took a vacation. The wife and I took a vacation up to Montana, and we were, hey, Gosh Effect Fire, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. And it was an absolute blast. I'll tell you this, it was amazing. I can as far as my kind of like travels, as when I was in Scouts and doing all the cool stuff that I got to do and go to Philmont, High Adventure, and stuff like that. I'd never been to Montana. As a matter of fact, I don't think there is a member of my family that has ever been to that state and like been up there. So I think I'm the first Warren of my lineage to go there. When my family immigrated here, my mother's side moved to the Ohio River Valley, and they immigrated to the Ohio River Valley. And my father's side when they came over, they immigrated to the Tennessee area. Then they went to the Ozarks, and then that's where they were. But they never got that far north. I think so. I feel it's crazy, kind of like that. I was like, I got to step foot in that country, be the first one to see it. I don't think even my brother never has. So it was amazing. And one major thing I took away is I wish my brother and I were on better terms, because I would like to show my brother that country. But I definitely want to show my in-laws that country, my Angela's mother and father, because she'd never seen it before either. I'd love to take them up there and have them see it, because they love that outdoorsy stuff and fishing and all the cool things that you can do, and they've never seen it before. In fact, I don't know. I think they've been on cruises before. They've taken like cruises for like a couple of weeks to the Caribbean stuff, but they've never seen like I would say like terrain like that, like country like that, like deep Pacific Northwest country like that. I'd like them to be able to see that, along the Big Hole River and the Wise River, and just the Beaverhead, all kinds of. The area where we were at was around the Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest, and we crashed in a little town called Wisdom, which I just absolutely fell in love with. Tiny little town, speck of nothing in the middle of nowhere. Wonderful people, wonderful establishment. I can tell you, I found the best. That little town has one of the best Mexican restaurants I've ever had. It was authentic Mexican cuisine, and they do a Chipotle style burrito. They do a Chipotle burrito better than Chipotle does, in my personal opinion. They absolutely do. So Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. But yeah, we took pictures, and you caught. Actually, this is funny you bring that up, Raven. That you bring. It's funny you bring that up. So, but we had an absolute blast, and I'd rather, if you never get a chance to just to see that area, I highly recommend everybody go. So, but we went up there with the dogs. Her parents kind of house sat for us and just watched the property, and then we went up there and just chill. Just went up there, and of course, it was a combination kind of vacation, and it was a combination vacation and treasure hunting. Yeah, because we were up there because of the Justin Posey treasure that's currently going on that I and Tony talked about at length on the last live stream. But if so, one thing that I thought was really, really cool. So for those not familiar with this whole kind of thing, like where we were at, and I want to show you all. So just to give you an idea as to where we were, I'm going to share this over. All right, so this is about where we were. This is the Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest. Okay, so scrolling out, this is where we were at, and we stayed here. We stayed in this town, Wisdom, wonderful little place. Absolutely adore it there. Fell in love with it. It's over off 278, and this was our initial search area. Was all of this was this area right here, just this small area out of the entire state of Montana, which is this. It was just this tiny little area in southwestern Montana near the border of Idaho. So, but that's where we were at. There's Tweety Mountain, Elkhorn Hot Springs, Maverick Mountain. There's Polaris. We went up all through there. So we pretty much searched this entire area. Spent 10 days every single day. Like I think like every day but one, because one day was a recovery day because we were we were really, really tired. And because we were getting up, when you're out there like that, and there's just no distractions whatsoever, not having to deal with computers, not having to deal. Most of this area out here, there's no cell service, like zero anywhere. So there's and the internet is the Wi-Fi that is at where we were staying in Wisdom, and even that was spotty sometimes. So I can tell you, this is absolutely gorgeous. One, Montana takes care of its state parks. Of its national forest as well. This place is pristine. It's absolutely gorgeous. Everything is just fantastic. The trails are so immaculately kept. It is not overawed, probably because the terrain is so tough. There's a lot of areas where the hiking is really, really is pretty strenuous. And so I imagine this is not like Yosemite or Yellowstone or anything like that, where there's so many tourists that you get that kind of like consumer feel. No, this is for legitimate backpackers. When you go out here, you not only need to be prepared, obviously, for weather, because weather can come in fast. You need to be prepared with first aid, have the right gear, the right boots, the right everything you need for the trail, and of course your defense as well. You need your bear spray, you need your audio, you need your Blair horns, and we didn't carry, because some areas not allowed to carry weaponry in some of the public areas because it's just too dangerous. So, but you can carry bear deterrents, because there are grizzly and black bear out here. So, and they're all along this Wise River, which is a town, but it's all along the Wise River, all along the big hole. This whole area right here, this northern area here, is chock full of bear. It's all kinds of stuff. But we didn't see any, because apparently at this time of year when we went, just before the summer season, they're actually all up here north of Anaconda. So, and they kind of move down here, and then they move back up. So they apparently move around. But apparently we got out of there just in time, because there are a couple of areas where they're going to be doing bear baiting in order to bring bears in. So the Fish and Game will be setting traps around the area that will draw bears to certain areas, because they want to make sure that they're spread out and to keep the deer populations in check. So the deer, elk, and other populations in check. So it's really, really good stuff. But it's so balanced. It's so absolutely beautiful. It's quiet as hell. Night sky is absolutely brilliant. And we loved every minute of it. The dogs loved it too. Our favorite trail so far, we gotta say, is Sawtooth. Now, when you're down here, there's Polaris. Tiny, tiny, tiny little town. Be a wonderful little place called Moz, which is a little like, if you forgot something, like if you forgot it, you can go in there and buy it. There's a wonderful little place there. This is the Pioneer Mountain Scenic Byway, what we call the Byway, which runs all the way up through the area, goes all the way up past Elkhorn Hot Springs, past Maurice Mountain, all the way up to Wise River. So it connects from Wise River all the way down to here, to 278. Right there. And then if you wanted to, you could take it all the way over to, there's the Bannock State Park, which is where Bannock Ghost Town is, which is really, really cool, which we got pictures of, which we went and visited. And then, of course, there's Dillon and Dewey and Divider up there. And there's Wisdom. Jackson. Jackson is literally like a block. The town is, I think it's like 2 blocks. Okay. It has a school, which is pretty sweet. It has an elementary school. We never saw any children, but it does have an elementary school. And so, but there's the Bunkhouse Hotel, the Hot Springs Lodge. And yeah, they actually have an LDS. They have a Mormon church up there, which is wild. So, but Fournier Street, Warm Springs Creek. So all kinds of cool stuff. But yeah, that was a blast. This is where we spent 10 days tromping around, boots on the ground in the wilderness, going up and down and trying to suss out this freaking poem, this whole thing. Bunkhouse Hotel. It's actually a hotel and it's a post office. It's a combination. It's the Bunkhouse Hotel and post office. There's a lot of combos up there. Lots of really, really good stuff. Let's see who else we got. Who else? We got some people join the chat. This will probably be a low audience chat, no doubt, because I can tell from my audience, this stuff is not very interesting, but it's interesting to me, and it's kind of like caught my attention. Let's see who else do we have here. Just call me Avi. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Let me see who else. Mr. E-Man, good to see you. Thanks so much for hanging out. Angel Rivera says, what up, what up? Good to see you, Angel. See, the Grizzly Bears would think jail is one of them. Probably. They probably would. NA, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Oh, yeah, definitely. So post office used to be in the hotels wherever there was, wherever there was a lot of foot traffic. Exactly, Avi. So, and you see a lot of that old school stuff here. Now, Bannock was really, really neat because Bannock, you could see the kind of setup. One of the oldest Masonic lodges in Montana is still in Bannock. Well, it was like it wasn't a hotel. Hey, Wicked Pista, good to see you. It wasn't like a hotel, but I think it was a schoolhouse. It was like the bottom. It was a 2 stories, and the bottom story was the schoolhouse, and the top story was the Masonic Lodge. And the Masonic Lodge area they still have intact from the time, because Bannock was in use until like the early 70s. People were still living there before it became a park, but the Masonic Lodge wasn't in use for a long time. And they actually have that area. It's set up like a museum where you can look through these panes. You can look through like the glass to see what it looked like, see all the chairs set up, see all the flags, see all the maps and stuff, and all the Masonic stuff. But yeah, it's old school, like really, really old. Probably a lot of artifacts in there. Thank you so much, NA, for 10 memberships to the Godless Army. I do appreciate that very, very much. You rock. Very generous. And Case Cooper's been a member of that Godless Army for 27 months, and Annie's been a member for 44 months. You rule. Thank you all so much for that support. You're awesome. So I have the most generous subscribers. I really do. Oh, Fangirl's falling asleep. That's okay, Fangirl. This is not the usual kind of stuff. It's kind of something kind of new. But I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for saying hi. You get some rest. Conspiracy Paradise. Yes, absolutely. So this is an absolute blast of a trip. It really, really was. The kicker is, because I know I have my usual content, and I will be getting back to that usual content. It's been a little bit tough transitioning back from 10 days out there, because once you get out there, it's so different. I can tell you that my sleep schedule improved. I didn't have to worry about anything. Yeah, we weren't concerned about stuff, but it was legitimate. Like we were out there doing something. Not to mention, I was doing the daily content, so you guys got the daily shorts as to what was going on that day, which I hope you all liked. I hope you all enjoyed those. But other than that, it's just kind of like coming back to town, being here back at the house, and just kind of like getting back into the groove has been kind of it's been a bit of a transition. So it's getting my head out of that space, because it was something I really loved. My mind is kind of occupied by it, but I am getting back to it. So like as usual, the Stage of Reason will be picking back up. We'll be doing that in June. Let's see, what is the date on that one? Is June 15th will be the next Stage of Reason, and I will be doing an event over on the Omni Talk Discord on the 3rd. I'll be doing kind of like it's kind of like the Stage of Reason, but it'll be pretty much me versus anybody who comes up and talks. So I'll be doing that, and then of course, hopefully, I think I may have an appearance on Truth Wanted coming up. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. So we'll see. Who knows when that might get scheduled? But they reached out, which I think is pretty cool. Great people, love working with them. And I hope I get the opportunity to be on. I've been on there twice. I hope I get to be on there because I feel good. I feel better than I did the last 2 times. I feel more comfortable. So I think it'll be a better show. And I can do all those people who do that hard work. I can do right by them and help them out the best I can. I got my wilderness cap gun and wanted to go bear hunting, but the great outdoors just stick with you. Oh, it does. It does. I want to go fishing up there. I want to put my waders on and go get in the big hole. I know that sounds really weird, but the Big Hole and Wise River, all those rivers, I want to go fish those. Grasshopper Creek, Rattlesnake, Beaverhead, Red Rock, Clark Canyon Reservoir. I want to fish all that because it looks absolutely amazing. The Big Hole especially looks absolutely amazing for fishing. I can't wait to get to try that. And we did our search. We went up trails. We went down. We checked out pullouts and areas where you just kind of you pull off to the side so that people can pass you, and then you just walk off into the wilderness. We checked out all kinds of places and tried to put things together as to where they might be. And both, Avi, both. As long as you have your fishing license. If you have your fishing license, you can fish to eat, or you can fish and release. I think there is a limit to the number that you can catch, but you can eat out of those streams or eat out of that river. In fact, the Big Hole is kind of like the fishing mecca. So yeah, as a matter of fact, they have a program up there right now that certain trout are tagged with either blue tags or yellow tags. And if you catch the yellow tags, for every yellow tag you turn in, you get $100 because they're doing some sort of the fishing game is doing some kind of analysis, I guess. And for every yellow tag you catch, you get $100. For every blue tag you catch, you get your name in a raffle for fishing gear and other cool stuff, which is pretty interesting stuff. Case Cooper says, I have an interview coming up on Author to Author about my book. I'll keep you informed. Awesome. Fantastic. Can't wait to see that. Would be great if you work with Brandon from Mindshift one day. Brandon is a great dude. I really enjoy Brandon's work. I thoroughly enjoyed his whole what is with the Christians and all the blood? I really enjoyed that video, and I knew he was going to get a lot of feedback about that. Really wild stuff. He got a lot of pushback on that one. And I myself, oh yeah, Raves says I would love to live in Montana, but the winters are horrid. That's the two kickers. In Montana, it's the winters. The winters are brutal, but they're not like plains winters. The winters up in Montana are not like winters in Oklahoma, Kansas, or Texas. Okay, where there's the god awful wind, the wind chill, and then of course everything is just sleet and ice and gross. It's not like that. Okay, we were up there in Montana at the time, right before the season began. So it was right towards. So we wanted to get as close to the snow melt as we could, but not pay for seasonal prices. And so when we got up there was still snow up there. In fact, you saw in one of the videos that one of the trails we were going up, we couldn't go any further because it was still snowed in. So, but we were out. It was you'd wake up in the morning and it was 35 degrees outside. And I promise you walk outside and it feels like 50, maybe 60 degrees, clear sky, sun's out, 35 degrees. And it doesn't even feel like it. I think Texas kind of toughens people up like that. And they say that the hottest it gets there is 90 degrees. And I'm 90? I'll do 90 in my sleep, because once you've done, 6 years of two-a-days at 110 to 120 degrees in football. And then of course, all the stuff that I did, in junior high school, and college. And I'm kind of please, 90 degrees, that's nothing. It was, I saw people, when I was in Hawaii, I saw people from Scotland who were melting in 75-degree weather, which I thought was hilarious because we're from Texas and it was 75. This is gorgeous. This is absolutely beautiful. And then people are just oh, it's so hot. It's no. So 90 degrees, that's not hot. That's not hot at all. It's not. Okay, I'm from Texas, so originally from California, but I'm from Texas, so I'm not even worried about it. But the winters, that's pretty. I mean, it's pretty much just the snow. The snow is really, really intense. Thank you so much, Mr. E-Man, for gifting 20 memberships to the Godless Army. I do appreciate that so much. You rock. Thank you so much. And Mr. E-Man is a new member as well. Thank you. That's how it was in my day. Yep. America seems so small from here in Wales, but when you share your country, it really is very eye-opening. Oh, it's intense. It's intense. It is. Hey, Unlocked. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. It was an amazing drive, 20, I think it was 22 hours, 23-hour drive from where we are up there. And we got to go through Kansas, Oklahoma. Oh, sorry. We came out of Oklahoma, got to Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, just Idaho, and then up into, then we just curved up. It's like, if you're going up like this, and then we curved up, I said, so doing reverse. So it was like here, and then up through to the tail end of Idaho, through the back corner, or the bottom corner of Idaho, and then into Montana, and then we just circled around there, and then came right back down. So, but it was a blast. So it was an absolute fun. It was absolute fun. I can tell you there is the remote possibility that we might relocate. There's the remote possibility we might relocate. Now, it wouldn't be to a town like Wisdom, because I need internet and I need consistent internet, and I'm not doing Starlink. So it would probably be to Butte or Missoula, possibly even Dillon. Yes, because Dillon's not too bad. But I like that area and I like quick access to that. So it would probably be Southwest Montana. Absolutely love it there. So all kinds of cool stuff. But it was a blast, and I can show you these. Give me 1 second. Actually, let me do. And I can do this. Present. I'll show my screen so you guys can see it. All right. So Angela's taking some pictures, and I was taking some pictures. So just some of the stuff that was on the trip. There was the mountains coming up in the. I think this was going through Colorado. This shot was taken in Estes, Colorado, where we crashed for the night because we didn't drive all the way through. So, but we crashed at Estes, Colorado, and this was just a gorgeous shot of the moon that was over the peaks in that area. Just really, really fun. Just that was that was a really nice shot. Estes, Colorado is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It was cold. The wind was kicking up a monster that morning. Like, the wind was intense. The wind was intense coming off the lake. So, but this was when we took the dogs out for a walk. When I went out for breakfast. The point is to ignore the internet. Yeah, that's true. I stopped by the Stanley Hotel. So yeah, I stopped by the Stanley and checked out the inspiration for The Shining. There it is. But I wanted to check out the Stanley Hotel because it turns out where we were crashing, the little motel or little hotel where we were crashing was like 5 minutes from the Stanley Hotel. So I just drove down the street, and when you drive down the street and it's like a little loop, you turn off and it's a big loop, and that loop goes all the way around up there by the Stanley, and then that's what I was on when it's kind of like turning into a mall. You drive up, and then it has the road that runs around it. Well, the road runs in front of the Stanley Hotel, and that is the Stanley. There you have it. The hotel that inspired The Shining. So, yep, the Stanley Hotel. There she is. Gorgeous. So, really enjoyed it. This was the roads coming in, going through Colorado, taking a look at some of the. This is I can't remember what river this is. We were driving by, but it was winding underneath the road, all around the road. Hey, Plot Hole, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here, bud. Was there any alternative energy found? No alternative energy was found. Raven Doctor says, I hate Colorado. Colorado wasn't too shabby. I liked Estes. Estes, Colorado was nice. It was just really pleasant. But we were only there for a night, so maybe that was it. So then we ran across, because we were going through a national park and there was lots of wildlife. So we came across this little family that was hanging out. That was just kind of like crossing the road and going up the side of the slope there. So we got in there. It looks like they're in their molting in their shedding season. So I think it's Bighorn. I think those are Bighorn. So, but yeah, there was a blast seeing them. And then, of course, more mountains because we're just enthralled by mountains because we live in Oklahoma and everything is so flat, even though, yeah, it was just so cool seeing the peaks. This was an absolute blast. Angela got some great photos, you know. She really did. Just some great stuff. It's so remote. It's so remote and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Gotta love it. You know, just amazing stuff. Yeah. And I believe that this was Clark Canyon Reservoir. That was Clark Canyon Reservoir coming in. These were peaks coming in. Yep. As we were driving through. Yeah. That's Clark Canyon Reservoir. And then, of course, this was along our route into Montana. So we were in Montana at this point, and we were driving out. Now, this is our neighbor. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's just a good shot over Wisdom, which is really, really cool. So this was our unexpected neighbor because when you go and stay in remote areas, you have unexpected neighbors, and that is one of my neighbors. So it's a good neighbor. Just a good neighbor. Quiet. Likes apples. Likes apples a great deal. Let me see. Who? Adam Strange is here. Good to see you. So what's up, my Globetrotters Heretics? Good to see you, Adam Strange. Thanks so much for being here. I spent 2 years at Fort Carson. So yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, I have no Bigfoot pictures, and we didn't hear any Bigfoots or see any Bigfoots, so I still don't believe that they exist. So, but there were our friends. These llamas. There was 2 separate pens. These llamas were really fascinated by the dogs. They especially Oso. They really into Oso. So that was a Pokemon thing. Let me see. Oh, yep. This is more. I think this was out at one of the campground, one of the areas that we were searching. Crossing hallowed ground. This was a clue that we came across. Oh, yeah, this was Skinner Meadows. Skinner Meadows was an area that we searched, but unfortunately there wasn't much that we could search because this fence obviously indicates private property, so we could not cross onto that area. So the search area was actually limited, but this was Skinner Meadows, which was really a really important area to the Nez Perce back in the day. And then, of course, the Nez Perce National Historic Trail. This was, I believe that, yeah, there he is. Sorry. I was taking a picture, and there he is. Lots of chipmunks out there. Lots of chipmunks. So many chipmunks. And they constantly getting my dog's attention. And, of course, Oso, being a German Shepherd, will not let them go. And then, of course, more mountains. Just absolutely gorgeous. Gotta love it. This was a pretty rough drive. This one right here, this was... I believe going up, this was a pretty tough terrain going up that. Luckily, we had the right vehicle for it. And oh yeah, this was from Fetties. Fetties was a restaurant that we ate at a couple of times because their burgers are amazing. But even better than their burgers, their sweet potato fries were freaking fantastic. I can tell you this right now: that bear burger is absolutely stellar. That bear burger is fantastic. And yes, Adam Strange, those llamas that you saw are available for rental. People rent them as pack animals. So yes, they are rented llamas. Okay, they for whatever your needs might be. So they are rental llamas. Steve Oss says there are Bigfoots, then there are Bigfoots. There's no Bigfootses. There's no Bigfootsies. So, but this was really good. Fetties was really, really nice, and they had better Wi-Fi than where we were staying at. This is a really, really cool photo that Fetties has. And probably the most unique picture ever taken was taken in 1866. And it was taken in Hunter Hot Springs, Montana, 50 miles south of Livingston, believed to be these people gathering to see Lily Langtree sing. And in this picture, you have Wyatt Earp, Teddy Roosevelt, Doc Holliday, Virgil Earp, John Johnson, also known as Liver Eating Johnson, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Bat Masterson, Harry Britton, Judge Roy Bean, Ben Greeno. So yeah, assembled to see Lily Langtree sing. Wyatt Earp, Teddy Roosevelt, who had a ranch in the area, John Holliday, Doc Holliday, Virgil Earp, who was obviously there with Wyatt, Jeremiah Johnson, George Parker, who is Butch Cassidy, and Harry Longbaugh, who is the Sundance Kid, Bat Masterson, who ran with Wyatt Earp during the cowboy era, during the cowboy epic, Harry Britton, who was a railroad brakeman, Judge Roy Bean, who was in love with Lily Langtry, and Ben Greeno, who was a friend of Jeremiah Johnson. So I thought that picture was really freaking cool. And imagining all of these cats assembled together, some of the most legendary lawmen, politicians, and pioneers and outdoorsmen, like right in one spot. Imagine there to see Lily Langtry sing, which I thought was really, really cool. So I had to grab a snapshot of that. Hey, Chris Durham, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here, bud. You rock. Real bears, as in the meat. Dorimo 10, good to see you. Says no Bigfoots, but how many illegal migrant chupacabras do you see? I think it's too cold for chupacabras where we were at. Might be too cold. A window on living history. So Grasshopper, we would check out Grasshopper Overlook, which has some really, really cool stuff. Really, lots of private property up there. So the search area was actually quite limited. This was at Bannock. This was at Bannock State Park. So Bannock Ghost Town, which is really neat. And I believe that this creek right here, this is the Grasshopper that runs through there. And supposedly really good fishing too. And here's Bannock Ghost Town, which is upkept by the Bannock State, by Montana National Park System. And there it is. You can see it right there. That was the old Masonic Lodge. The Masonic Lodge occupies that top area, and then the schoolhouse was down here. You can't really make out the sign, but the schoolhouse is down in this area, and the Masonic Lodge was up top. And the way you accessed it, there's a stairwell on the side, on the other side of it. Yeah, there it is. First floor schoolhouse, second floor Masonic Lodge. So that was up there at the top. And so you go in this right here. This is really cool. That is a merry-go-round. So, and there's a sign right near it that actually says, antique merry-go-round, use at your own risk. So, oh, that was me blocking it. There's the schoolhouse, what the schoolhouse looked like. And here is the old Masonic Lodge, because you had to take pictures through the bar. It's barred glass is what it is. But here's what the old Masonic Lodge looked like, which I thought was kind of neat. Master, Mason, Fellow, entered apprentice. Hotel Mead, which apparently Angela says something spooked one of our dogs, because the dog, you can't take your dogs in there. You don't have to leave them outside. You know, like if the doors are unlocked, you have full access to them. The only thing they ask is that because of the wind sometimes, that because of where the town's situated in the valley, you have to close the doors behind you. But we did go in. We did get to go in. Apparently something scared Torque. So, but this was a Hotel Mead, and that's us. And then this was the church. And then another shot of that bridge, because I really like that bridge over there. This is the poem. I don't know why I have it still in there. I put that up on Discord. Another area that we were checking out. That was another thing. Let me see here. More vistas. Absolutely gorgeous. All right. So I know that this is kind of a rough image. But unfortunately, yes. So that is an American Kestrel. And unfortunately, while we were driving along 278, one day we were heading back to the hotel to call it a day. I was trucking around because these are long open stretches, and the speed limit on them is like 75. And so I was doing about 70 miles an hour, and I was coming around a curve and just like coming around this big. The whole area, like the road there, is shaped like a scythe. You know, because it cuts up into the mountainous area, kind of like the hilly area, and then wraps around. And so I was coming around it, and this Kestrel came up over the ridge and like flew right in the and there's no way I could have dodged it, and it flew right into the grill. So that was an American Kestrel. Yeah. So it wasn't that big. He's only about that big, you know, as far as size go. And apparently, as it turns out, the American Kestrel is the second smallest bird of prey in America. And it is the most common bird of prey in America. So they're all over the place, you know, especially up there. But unfortunately, he flew into the dash, you know, which was it flew into the grill, which was a shame. And I had to dig him out of there. But yeah, that was kind of rough. So that's the Old Forest Fen one. There's clues for him. This was yes, the llamas. So more llama pictures. This is pictures from I believe these are pictures from Sawtooth. Yeah. So this is the kind of terrain that we were, the kind of like, the dense terrain that we were hiking in, was this stuff here. So really, really gorgeous. Very cool stuff. Yeah. Probably belonged to a cow, but I'm not sure. So probably. Yes, Durham, it would have been a very different stream, a different live stream if we had found it. It definitely would have been. That was pretty cool. It's overturned tree. Oh, there's Oso. He's a good boy. Yeah, this was over off Sawtooth. They were good dogs. They were such good dogs on the trip. They were. This was at Ma's. Welcome, treasure hunters. She just got that sign right before the season opened because Michelob Ultra sent her that banner because Michelob Ultra apparently knows that they're going to be inundated with people going up there to hunt. And I'm so glad that we beat that because I didn't want to be up there when it was just swarming with tourists. So technically I was a tourist, but I didn't want to be up there when it was swarming with them. So, but we on the way out, we stopped by there and she got that banner and put it up. And Ma is just the sweetest little old lady. She's so fantastic. Only opens the place from May to November. And then after that, she closes down. So, and then reopens it up in the spring. Bigfoot territory. Yeah, right. Do we have the idiom? He was beaten like a rented llama. Right. And yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, so we were driving through it. We at one point we wound up driving through a cloud. I sent Johnny the pictures because it looked. The cloud cover was so low, it looked like it was the mist rolling in. And I sent Johnny some pictures of that, which was pretty wild. So this right here, obviously you see this image. Okay. This image is not, this is a bad image. Okay. Well, this image appeared on the dash. Hey, Kelly Fitzpatrick, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. And hey, for you to find it to be someone's mother. Wait, what is the treasure? Does anyone know? Oh, funny. But the reason for that was because of this. Now, what happened here is not because of the Kestrel, because as you could see, the Kestrel was much, much smaller. This was not. So on the way back, we were coming up. We made it all the way from Montana through through Idaho, through Wyoming, through Colorado, through Kansas, and we were 15 miles from Oklahoma, from home. But 15 miles from the house is where we were at. And the plan was we would get there. We were supposed to turn in the rental car the next day. And then I would, that morning I would wake up. The next morning, Monday morning, I would wake up. I would wash the car because it was pretty dirty from 4,000 miles on the road. I would wash the car, get it all vacuumed out because the dogs were in there, and then gas it up and then go turn it in to the rental place. And probably one of the largest owls I have ever seen, and Angela saw it better than I did because it hit on the passenger side, came out of nowhere and struck the car. Now, we never found the owl. Apparently, it glanced off or it hit, because I heard it hit, because as you could tell, it was quite large. So it hit, and I kid you not, and I think that I don't know, there might be some remnants, some owl remnants. I'm not sure. I do not know if that owl survived. I don't think it did, but it hit the car and it killed the car. Like, it killed it. Now, from what I can tell, what happened was, I don't know if you can tell from this picture, but there is what my dad liked to call splash damage. So like, you get like the fluid splash from inside the vehicle. What happened is apparently when the bird hit the car or hit this area, it damaged something that feeds transmission oil feeds transmission fluid into the vehicle. However, and there was transmission fluid everywhere. There was transmission fluid all over the front, all over here, dripping out of the back. So all the transmission fluid leaked out of the car because from the front, because the bird did what, the owl damaged it. Okay. And about less than 5 minutes after this, less than 5 minutes after this point, the vehicle literally dropped RPMs, started slowing down. This indicator came on, and then the car threw itself into park because everything's just automated on it. So the car just threw itself into park and just bam, and then it would not go back into drive. So it's because the trans fluid is cooled using a pipe that runs through the radiator. So because there was transmission fluid all over the place, we're pretty sure that it hit the transmission cooler is what it did. And it killed the transmission cooler and disabled the vehicle. We couldn't drive. And we got stuck on a 2-lane highway at 10:30 at night in the middle of nowhere, stuck between two ranch properties with no lighting. And it was a cloudy night. So it was just the worst scenario. I've been in way too many horror movies to imagine that because it was just me, Angela, and the dogs. And even worse, Angela's phone had no service and I had 1 bar. So that's where we wound up. So the very, very last 15 miles, we'd avoided pretty much any catastrophes whatsoever. And that happened. Bam. An owl came out of nowhere, disabled the vehicle, and we got stuck in the middle of nowhere. 15 miles from the house. It was on the other side of a reservoir. 15 miles from the house, with a dead car, with a car that only that wouldn't go into drive. And I with 1 bar, Angela no service, 2 dogs there, no light whatsoever. If you turn everything off, it'd be pitch black. We couldn't see anything. So we had to use the battery, had to use the headlights and the interior lights, the dome light to try and see anything. And so luckily I was able to get a hold of emergency services. And I was able to get a hold of the county sheriff's department. They were able to get a hold of a wrecker, and the wrecker came out and towed us in, and then that was the end. We were supposed to be home by like 11 o'clock. We didn't get home until 1. And we were exhausted. We were starving. The adrenaline, obviously, because while we were on that road, other people were coming up, and because we had the hazards on, everything was good. We didn't have any flares or anything, and so trying to make sure that we weren't going to get hit, trying to make sure that we were by people's property. Nobody was going to come out and maybe take a shot at us because this is middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and you never know. So, and I try to get a picture of the interior. That right there, what you're seeing right there, is actually a duct tape repair that was done on the inside of the vehicle. I can guarantee you we are not renting from this company again. We will not be renting from them again. And I believe that is the end. Yes, that is the end. That was the slideshow. And of course, you all saw all of the shorts that I did as well. So, yeah, that was pretty much the adventure. We went out, did the thing, hiked around. Kelly Fitzgerald says, "Only you, JL." Yeah, and still we lived. It was all good. Night of the Owl. Who will survive? So, well, that escalated quickly. Yes, it did. It did. Mr. Amen says it might be one of the connecting pipes for the trans fluid was knocked off the radiator. It's totally possible. I wasn't sure what it was because it was too dark and I didn't have any tools, obviously, because it was a rental car. So I wasn't exactly sure what happened, but it died, and there was transmission. But I do know transmission fluid when I see it, and there was transmission fluid leaking all out of the front of the car, and of course it was all over the place, all over the front. And whenever you put your hand on there, it's like I touch it, and there's just transmission fluid everywhere. So, yeah, Owl did a lot of damage and disabled the vehicle. I had to explain that so many times to the rental company because first I called the rental. I called roadside assistance. But roadside assistance it would take him 2 hours to get someone out to us. So I was like, okay, I'm going to call. So we'll call 911, let him know where we're at. And 911 was able to get a wrecker to us in like 45 minutes. And the wrecker came out. Dude was absolutely great dude. He's awesome. Made it so easy. He came out. The kind of bummer one, and Angela and I were kind of freaking out, was the dogs had to stay in the car and we had to ride in the cab. So we got in the truck, but the dogs had to stay in the van. So we locked the van, and then while he's hauling the van up onto the bed because it won't drive. And so he had to haul the dogs when they were all worried about freaking out, but the dogs were fine. Everything was good. And then her dad came with his truck because we didn't have a vehicle, and we were still pretty far from the house. And so our dad came over, we grabbed all of our stuff, pulled it out of the van, stuck it in his truck, and he drove us to the house. And then we got unpacked and we crashed because it was exhausting. But nonetheless, it was part of the adventure. It was an absolute blast. Loved it. It was a lot of fun. So, but yes, all of this in search of a treasure, because of this whole thing that's kicked off. And yes, I'm updating for anybody in the live chat who is in the Discord. Your thoughts are welcome. Of course, I believe it's kind of like a brain trust kind of thing. We're getting people kind of like together to kind of like collaborate on this, because I think more brains are better than no brains. It's just me. Angela's been amazing in trying to put things together as well. But I just think, more minds makes it a lot easier, especially for like theory crafting and knocking stuff down. All the info, there's several pictures that I put up in the Discord as well from the trip. As a matter of fact, there were the open range horses that stopped the car at one point, which was a lot of fun. Just these horses that came in, and we were driving out of an area over by Maiden Rock. We went to go check out Maiden Rock, and I was driving out. So Rave Darkstar says, make sure to keep an eye on your CC statement so the rental company doesn't slap you with repairs. We did have the insurance, obviously, because this is a 4,000-mile trip. So we did get the insurance, so the insurance should be able to take care of it. If they do try to hit us, then we will shut that shit down. We're prepped, and we've been watching it. And so they have, the screwed up thing is, the rental, the roadside assistance knows. Avis I just said it's Avis, but I've talked to them multiple times. They have sent Angela multiple messages about, your car is overdue. Your car is overdue. And eventually we're like, you know what? I'm just going to call. So I called them up. They're like, and finally got them on the phone to be like, look, the car is sitting at the wrecker place. I have told you where this place is 4 times. This is the address. You need to go pick it up because the car will not drive. Okay. It won't. It had to be towed there because you can't put it into drive anymore. Okay. The bird took out the car, and it's just been a pain in the ass, but hopefully we won't hear from them. And they said that there will be no billing. They told us there will be no billing, and there will be no further calls about the vehicle. Now that they know where it's at, they can go pick it up. I do know that the wrecker service said that if they don't go pick it up, that they will drive the vehicle. They'll tow the vehicle to the drop-off location at the airport. Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. This unscripted, eventful adventures. I'm happy for you and Angela. Super blast. Oh yeah, it was so much fun. 2 days later, when you woke up, we were exhausted. And so Enterprise bringing a new car. We went with what we felt was the best option, and it turned out to not be the best option. So now we've learned our lesson. The price was okay. The price was for the distance that we were going to be driving, because I love my Santa Fe. It's just my Santa Fe is old, because I drive my Santa Fe a lot. And so my car is a 2014. So my Santa Fe is a 2014, and it's fully paid off. I love it. I've never been in an accident. I take care of it. I know how to maintain it, but it's got 160,000 miles on it. And so while I love it as a daily driver, I don't trust it on a 4,000-mile adventure. I just don't, because if it does break down, it might be something serious, and just because of the age of the vehicle. Pulling around town or pulling around the state, I need to drive down to Tulsa. I need to drive up to Kansas. Not a problem. But going to Montana, going off-road, and then coming, no, I didn't trust it. I didn't. And then we didn't be stuck on some stretch in between, Wyoming and Colorado in the middle of the night and have to hike 50 miles to freaking Laramie. It's just, I wasn't in the mood for that. Wasn't going to happen. So, but nonetheless, it was an absolute blast. So here was the whole big thing. And I guess this is where it's going to get kind of on the personal side of that. Talk to me when you've got 250K. 250,000 miles. I've had a vehicle. I've had a vehicle with over 300,000 miles, but this was a long time ago. It was the first vehicle I ever had. It was a hand-me-down vehicle from my parents. It was my first one that was ever mine, and it was a 1989 Aerostar. So my very first vehicle that was, I could say, this is my car. And it was a 1989 Aerostar, and it was the family van that we used to go back and forth to California every summer. We would drive to California from Texas and then back every single summer. We had that van for forever. And they handed out to me, that van had over 300,000 miles on it. So, that brings back memories. That brings back serious memories. Oh, that van. There was that van. Then there was my Taurus. My family was a Ford Lincoln Mercury family. There was the van, there was the Aerostar, there was the Taurus, there was the Cougar, which is my favorite car ever. My 79 Cougar XR7. I love that car. I got it for $400. Oh, I adored that car. The Escape, Ford Escape. And the only time I've ever broken, and I had a Taurus in between there and an Explorer. So the problem was I was always because I was cheap and I didn't have a ton of money to spend. I was always about getting the cheapest vehicle I could get that would last as long as it could make it. So it was like the Aerostar, and then it was then I was in a Taurus for a while, and then I was in the Cougar for a good long bit. Then I had another Taurus. Yes. After the Cougar got wrecked, after somebody ran into me, somebody rear-ended me and totaled the Cougar, which really, because it shifted the frame, really pissed me off. I lost that car, but I got a sweet. I got the Blue Book payout on it. I bought a Taurus, which I wasn't a fan of. When that thing died, I was able to get an Explorer. That was a piece of crap. The Explorer was awful. And then that's when I finally had built up my credit enough and built up my income enough that I went and bought my first car. Like legitimately, because I paid cash for cars, but it never really feels like you're buying your first car. But I went and I financed my first car, which was my Escape, my Ford Escape. And I love that car. It is a close second to the Cougar. I love that car. I love that car so much. Was my Escape. And then somebody hit that while it was parked in front of my house back in Allen, when I was living in Allen. And I walked out to go to the store one morning, and I was like, I was going to go get my Monster and do my usual morning routine. And I go out and I go to drive the car, and the car won't, and it starts acting funny. I was like, what the heck? And I look out, and somebody had either backed into or swerved into and accidentally hit the back rear tire on the driver's side, just smashed it. And the tire was all jacked up. I didn't even notice when I was walking out to the car. And so they broke the axle when they hit it, and the car was totaled. And I was like, and the insurance adjuster came out and said, yeah, it's done. So then I got to pay out for that one. And with that one, we were able to roll the remainder of that into the Santa Fe that I have now. And the Santa Fe is now completely paid off. So I can say, as far as like finance cars that are completely paid off, the Santa Fe is my first one. So, which I love. I love that car so much. I like that one. The Santa Fe, the Edge, and Santa Fe, the Escape, and my Cougar were my favorite cars. So, this is just a trip down memory lane right now. All right, Kelly, have a good one. Getting back to work. I just looked at that thing is ugly. So you're saying you won't be watching Hitchcock's The Birds anytime soon? Probably not. With that owl's still out there. It's probably one pissed off owl. So fix it with a hammer and screwdriver. How many cars you've had? I count my blessings. Yeah, definitely. So, but this whole big thing, obviously, and this. I like these streams, even though they're obviously not as popular. I like these streams because there's so much shit that's going on right now that we need we need to do something uplifting. And I find myself in kind of a I'm not transitioning away from my normal content, but I need to do something different. I felt like people out there needed to hear something different, something a little bit more fun, a little bit more uplifting, at least for a little bit of a break away from the usual stuff. With everything that's going on in this country right now, with everything that's going on politically, with the attacks to our Constitution, with the rise in Christian nationalism, with all of this scary stuff that's happening, and the uncertainty of whether or not the judiciary is going to be able to hold the executive in check is very scary times. And it was starting to become overwhelming, My feed, I'm sure your social media feeds, my feeds, my YouTube feeds, all this stuff is just inundated with this back and forth insanity with and just the genocidal stuff going on in the Middle East. I don't know what words you can't say live, like if you use like the I word or the P word, but the stuff that's going on out there, and the stuff in Ukraine, and hey Earl, good to see you. I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit kind of like out of the blue, and something a little bit more fun, because it has become so freaking dire that it was wearing me out. Every time I turned on, it was something crazy, and then I would want to cover. I was getting content ready, and it's just some of the content I was looking at was just really, really terrible. And I'm trying not to get, I obviously don't want my stuff to get stale, because you're doing the same arguments over and over and over and over again, even though sometimes it's what it is, but sometimes you get different stuff, you get fun stuff. And I found some good things. I'm going to, when the next content comes out, I'm going to be good to go. But it's just so uncertain and unstable out there. And I found, just in the wake of that, of seeing how crazy it is and how Sov sits, and then you look at other stuff, as more and more states establish halo laws for the police, as the state of Texas is set to gear filming, or what is it? There's some sort of law that they're looking at, possibly that's been presented, that might pass, given that it's Texas, that filming police officers within a certain distance or like that will be a felony. So, which I mean, I'm not the only one who did this. I kind of predicted that this is what would happen, is that by attacking the system from the outside, the system would do what the only way the system can respond is by limiting or rescinding the rights that people have in order to protect first responders. And I knew it was going to happen, that they keep doing it. The state's just going to fight back. They're not going to acquiesce. It's just not going to happen. It's not how you change stuff. You change laws. You don't change by forcing people to act a certain way. So we see that happening, but it's the same thing over and over again. Courthouse dramas, same stuff. And I don't know about you, but for me, it got a little bit about, like, I know that some of them are really bad because they're arrogant and they're just like, they think they know better than, judges and lawyers and stuff like that. But some of them are watching people like on their worst days, and kind of getting entertainment out of that. And that started to bug me a bit, because you're seeing a person at the worst moment, and acting like an asshole is one thing. Acting like everything. I get the entertainment value in that one, but sometimes really ignorant people who are scared and they're desperate and they're angry, and I just got the feeling that some of the people that I was seeing them at their worst moments, and that they get so emotional, and that they just end up. It was like it feels almost exploitative a little bit. So I kind of get the in my gut, and then that's just me. That's just my opinion. So it's starting to feel a little exploitative. I really only get a kick out of Van Ballian's channel these days, because the window smashes are always really, really funny. Window smashes and tasers are always really funny. But just because those cats, when the tasers come out, it's because the other individual has gotten to that point, has gotten belligerent to that point. But nonetheless, obstruction from a misdemeanor to a felony, that's what it is. Yeah. It's Texas. There's one of 2,742 reasons why Angela and I are no longer living in Texas. We saw the opportunity to get out, and we did, so, but nonetheless, with the chaos that's going on politically, domestically, internationally, it was something different. This was something different to kind of jump onto. And not to mention, I don't know about all of you, and this might be different, because I am really, really fucking sick of flat Earth. Like, I really, really am. It's become, for me, it almost feels that for me, it goes beyond like exploitation. It's either grifters, the profoundly stupid, or the mentally ill. And by platforming any one of those three, it's bad. It's made me ill, I'm just getting sick of it. I don't think anybody should. I don't know how MC Tune has kept on doing it this long. I really don't. I am sick and tired, getting sick to death of there being dedicated. Like, I've run into multiple Discord servers that have dedicated channels to solely flat Earth, and the fact that these people keep getting entertained is beyond the pale. It's become beyond the pale to me. It's like, if a person's a flat earther, just kick them off, because I get that it was entertaining at first, but now that the final experiment has taken place, and Simon Dan has his big thing that's about to go down, all that's left now are the extreme grifters and the I would say the darker, the individuals who've gone so far down the rabbit hole, either because they are really conspiratorial minded, and I would say people who are antisocial to a dangerous degree, and the mentally ill. And so the extreme fringes are what are left. And that means the rhetoric is going to be that much more extreme. And it's going to be, and it's not people I think that should be platformed, and it's not people that I think that should be exploited for entertainment value. This is just solely my opinion, So yeah, on that. And I have just gotten, and I had kind of like a freak out on a Discord dealing with flat earthers when I was trying to have conversations with other people, and I'm just absolutely sick of it. And so flat earthers, I think just ban them. Don't let them into spaces. Ignore them. Don't give them the time of day. So I'm very much of that mind, and I'll just mute and block them, because I'm just not. I don't think it's funny anymore. I don't think that they're funny. I think their rhetoric is both profoundly ridiculous and to a degree harmful. And I'm just absolutely sick of it. I'm just beyond sick of it. I really am. I hope I don't. I have I have zero patience. I've lost all patience for flat Earth. So given all of that, because I'm kind of like blathering at the moment. Given all of that, when the Justin Posey treasure hunt came along, it was something that caught my eye, because we came across it at random when it was on Netflix, the documentary. The documentary introduced us to software engineer Justin Posey, and then that introduced us to the book, which introduced us to the poem. Okay? The poem is available on the Discord. I've took pictures of it, and I've clipped it, and I put it on the Discord so people can take a look at it if you want to read it for yourself, because obviously I can't hold up the whole thing. So that's his dog Tucker, or a little picture of his dog Tucker. Came across this, and we didn't really get to participate in the Forest Fen treasure. But one thing about the Forest Fen treasure is that Angela was aware of it. Angela was aware of the Forest Fen treasure, and she kind of started looking into it, and she narrowed it down to a solid starting place. As it turns out, the starting place that she narrowed it down to was the correct starting place. But she was only doing it in her off time. She was like, maybe it's like this. This looks like it could be it, like this. And the starting place was where three rivers, the Firehole, the Gibbon, and the Missouri. I think it was a Missouri, where these three, the Madison, the Firehole, and the Gibbon, where three rivers converge. That was the starting point. And Angela narrowed it down. She knew that that's where it was. That's where you started. She didn't know where to go from there. But when she heard about it, when she saw that, she was like, she was like, crap. If she had just put a bit more effort into it, or like this, whatever, thought about it. But that was years ago. That was some time ago. The Fen treasure had been found. It had only been out there for 10 years. Somebody, Jack Stuff from Philadelphia, he found it, and that was it. And then I've yet to reach greater sapient levels of exasperation. I don't know. My freak out over on the Omni talk against the flat earthers, that was pretty bad. It was not like me. I didn't like it whatsoever. So we checked out this treasure. And this is a lot of fun. And this is what led us to have an awesome week in Montana. Okay. And of course, this will lead to other adventures. So long as the treasure is not found, this will lead us to other adventures. We've got excursions mapped for New Mexico, for Arizona, possibly Utah. There's a couple of states that we have eliminated just because, we don't think it has any connection. Alaska, for one, we will not be going to. Just because, given what Justin is saying, he wants it available to as many people as possible, and Alaska is just simply not cost effective. Not to mention, some of the areas are extremely dangerous, and the risk of life and limb going up to some of the areas, some of the wilder areas of Alaska, really, really dangerous. So I don't think he'd put in offices in that kind of situation. We've eliminated that. We've eliminated Oregon. We've eliminated California. We've eliminated Nevada because Nevada is predominantly desert. And he likes fishing. Fishing is a big thing, especially especially trout, and not a huge thing in Nevada. Lake Tahoe doesn't have the right topography, in that area. And so we're thinking probably if it's interstate, it's going to be in Montana. It's going to be Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, or Arizona are our thoughts. And that's pretty much that. So we have searches mapped out. You should see the hallway. The hallway outside has all the maps. Like it's starting to look really, really crazy. So, but it's fun. And I hoped that all of you out there would enjoy kind of coming along on this adventure with me, as it did something a little bit different. Kind of like break ground on this kind of stuff, something fun. And if you wanted to, people wanted to assist, people wanted to help out, have their names kind of attached to it, which would be kind of neat. I think it was there for everybody to kind of partake in. So on the Discord channel, which the link is in the description, if you check it out, I've given it its own dedicated channel. It's Posey Treasure Hunt, and there's where pictures can go. I'm posting up images of all the stuff that I've done, of stuff from there, and I've got everything, and all the resources that I have available are also available. So while I can't give you the book, I do have images of the book that can be read. And while I can't give everybody the ebook, I do have images of the ebook that can be read. So I do have that. So that everything that is available to me is available to everyone else who wants to help. Just for the aesthetic, thumbtacks with red string, absolutely. So, but that's pretty much it. It's just been an absolute blast. And so far, we've been having fun with it. We really, really have. And I wanted to catch up with y'all, kind of give you a post-mortem as to what was going down, let y'all know that there was new content coming up and that this was not going to be a predominant change. I mean, if I find the treasure, then you may see some big changes. I don't know, maybe. May buy a ranch and disappear. I have no idea, just to get away from it. Oh, yeah, sorry. Totally remembered. So somebody mentioned compounds or militia. When in Polaris and we were driving up to Sawtooth, I do believe we passed by a militia compound. The way it was set up, the way the walls of it were set up, it looked like a compound. It looked like driving by a compound. I do believe that there is a militia compound in Polaris, Montana. I do believe, Raven. I do believe we passed by a militia compound. I did not take any pictures of it because I didn't want to track it, because there is cameras all over it. And I wasn't going to be like, oh, what's that? What's going on? So, but I can tell you it's large. They not only did it have walls, but it had parapets at the corners, not to mention lots of security and a gate for entering back and forth. And it was a pretty large area. So I think there's a militia compound in Polaris. That was my guess. So it was a militia compound in Polaris. So, because it was on private property. It didn't look like a museum or anything. It was on private property. So, yeah, there you have it. That was the only one we saw. Although I did occasionally see people running around in the early morning in formation, like they were in the military. Not in military style, not inappropriate. Just they were just basically like stuff you get at thrift store or like Army Navy surplus. And but I did see kind of like running around. I think there are the militias out training, like doing drills in the morning. So did come across a few of those, but that's pretty much it. Hey, Missing Mod, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. But other than that, it was an absolute joy. So I don't know if any of you out there, I knew this wasn't going to be a too terribly popular stream because not that many people here, but I'm glad for those of you who hung out. be dropping new content shortly as soon as I get it recorded and edited. I'm starting off with a small video, then I'm going to be going on to a larger video. So we're going to be doing that. And of course, a bunch of writing stuff that I'm going to be doing. So, all kinds of cool stuff. But, obviously, any trips that we take, I will be bringing all of you along with me as I make content and I put it out there. And I hope you all enjoy that. Hope you all enjoy that stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So occasionally, I'm going to come back to this. And talk about this. So you're going to see a few live streams where I talk about the treasure hunt and where we should begin. So I just need to have a little bit more structure as to what we're going to talk about. And eventually I'm going to sit down, and I think when I have Tony here or somebody else who may be in who's helping me out, maybe Johnny or someone, we're going to sit here and I'm going to talk. We're going to do some theory crafting and actually talk about what we see, like what we see and what's going on. And hopefully any of you out there who have questions or have come across something or have suggestions, we'll get some audience interaction as to what's going on. So, a video on why bass is inherently superior to guitar. Oh, yeah, it was absolutely. Thank you, really. It was really, really good stuff. Come back to this, painted in gold, right? But yeah, and it should be a lot of fun. Really good, really should. Other than that, I pretty much got nothing. This was just cool. I wanted to do an update stream, let you all know what was going on, what the status of the channel was, kind of like my mentality. Got some new events coming up. You're gonna see my name pop up again. I'm getting one of those little spikes where I get people like contacting me to do some work. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But it's pretty much it's back to the grind. Raven says, JL, you need to go back to horror. Okay. I know there's only 19 of you here, but obviously I think put a 1 in the chat, I assume, if you were a fan of Week in Horror. Let me know how, of the 19 that are here, let me know who like it was a fan of Week in Horror, of the 5 years that we did Week in Horror. I'd like to see that. I know Earl, thank you, Earl, very much. Left-handed Jedi. See, there's only 4 of you. Only 4 people were fans of Week in Horror. So the channel is still up. I mean, all this, it's still there. So you can watch all the episodes. See, Raven, only 4 people were fans of Week in Horror. So we weren't that big. We only had 4 fans. No, I know we had more. So still drink coffee from my weekend. Oh, Tina Jones. Tina, good to see you. Still drink coffee from a Week in Horror mug. Hell yes. So many people have there's so much Week in Horror merch out there. But I'm glad you still have them. So, but I loved doing the podcast. I really, really did. I would love to get back to doing something like that in the future. It just, like I said, you guys know the story. It was like the bulk of it, kind of like, the logistics of it were just overwhelming, combined with the logistics of running my channel. And 5 years seemed a good spot. I would have loved to, I mean, just do Week in Horror, like, season 6, season 7, 8, 9, 10. That would have been sweet. That would have put us up there with the likes of like Last Podcast on the Left and, Raven, it's out there. I promise you, it's going to get to you. It will. I promise you. It's just Teespring. Luckily, I'm not so much dealing with them anymore. But I love doing the show. It just, it became too difficult to manage. And so I thought 5 years was a good point. 5 years was a solid point. And maybe one day we'll be able to bring it back when the load can be spread out a little bit, when we can do that. I got it down to a pretty, it's just that I was facing season 6 and all the scheduling, finding all the movies, making sure that we weren't going to be talking about a second movie twice. All the 52 thumbnails, which would be 52 times 4 would be that many posters to find, doing all the editing. And then of course, all the scheduling, all the, 52 scripts, not to mention new season artwork. And then of course, new t-shirts, new stickers, all the stuff for the new season. And it was daunting. It was just daunting having all that in front of me, not to mention maintaining bridge the divide. So I thought 5 years was a good place to call it. I wish everybody had been there on the stream with me. So I wish everybody. It just kind of it didn't go out the way I wanted it to go out, but I think it went out in the best spot it could. If I had tried to force season 6, I think the quality would have gone down severely. I didn't want to sacrifice it. I thought we went. I would say even pushed to the end of season 5 might have been forced. I think the back half of season 5. I think I was forcing it. I think I was forcing the back half of season 5. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, but I wanted. But I start a season. I'm gonna get it done, and that's what I was afraid of. Because if I started season 6, there was nothing that was going to stop me from finishing season 6, and I had to make a choice. Either I start season 6. And then I push through for the next 52 weeks, or I call it here and take a breath, and let Weekend Horror have its 5 years, have its clean 5 years, where if it's humble beginnings to where I think we peaked in season 2 and 3. I say our peak I think was 3, where we really hit our stride, and then 4 things kind of like we're at a good pace, and then 5. So, transitioning into 5, it just kind of like, and then I think the back half of 5 was kind of forced. So, but I think it was better to just rip the band, like I said, Left-Handed Genesis, rip the Band-Aid off, and thank you so much, Casey. See, that means a lot because I wanted to give great quality content every single week, and I appreciate that you saw that and that you didn't notice any fall off in quality. That means I did my job, which is fantastic feedback. That was great feedback, and I'm glad to hear that I did my job. I did it successfully, and so I'm glad that you all enjoyed it. It's just that I knew I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to risk it going into season 6 and really trying to force it, and because at the minute it starts feeling like a slog, can't do it anymore. You can't, because the quality of it will diminish, and I was not going to do the show and you all that kind of disservice. I didn't want to do that. So I'm glad. It felt like I was forcing it to me. Okay, it felt like the back half of season 5, I was really forcing it, and so. But I'm glad to hear that that wasn't coming across, that was pretty much in my mind. That's a good thing. That, that it was in my head, that, I wasn't actually forcing it, that it was just in my head. So that's very good feedback. What fall off other than your beard? That's right. True. Other than my beard. So, but that's where we're going to be these days. One day we might get back to it. We'll see what happens. As far as like horror film productions go, we got stuff in the works, and we're going to see where that takes us as soon as I know, because I'm not leading the banner charge anymore. So the podcast was kind of like the driving charge. Now that the podcast is over, it's not really the driving charge anymore. So, so pretty much doing this. But if something pops off, then obviously you guys will know about it. You'll probably be the second ones to know about it after I tell my wife. And yeah, you say, Casey, yeah. Related to Samson, the beard is the source of his power. That's true. Yeah, it might just be the source of my power. But yeah, it's pretty much it. And well, hopefully one day we'll get back to it. Hopefully we'll get back to do something similar, or maybe we'll just revive the show and bring it back for another season. We'll just take this extended break, and we'll just pick it right back up season 6. Maybe we will. We'll just in September. It'll be September. It'll be where it was. We'll just take like season 5, like what would have been season 5, take a 2-year hiatus, and then bam, we'll just pick it up in season 6, and then we'll run with it. Who knows? Maybe, if we get the opportunity, because once I've taken a significant break. Now that this channel's past 10,000 subscribers, which makes me really happy. Now it's the push to 20K, which hopefully will be a bit easier than the slog to 10. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, of course, until this treasure is found, we'll be occasionally looking at this as well. And I hope that you guys will enjoy that and, coming along with me as well. And check out the Discord, because the stuff's in the Discord. I try to make it available to everybody, so you guys, so nobody has to spend any money that they don't need to spend. So, but you can still have fun with it, and you can have fun, helping us out, and and talking about it and speculating with us. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about doing a viewing of the documentary in the Discord, like in the theater, going over there and doing a viewing of the documentary. I've been thinking about doing that. If I do, I will announce it on the Discord before we do it, just like I used to do with the movie theater. So I hope that some of y'all will join me for that. For those of you who don't have Netflix, you can check it out after your last live stream. So maybe live streaming more will help you get to 20K. Possibly, Elizabeth. It's possible. I know I need to live stream more, but I also need to make steady content, and do that. It's just, I think this was one of those times where it was like, it was a good vacation time to get back, but now it's time to get back to work, and we'll figure out what we do next. So other than that, I appreciate everybody. You all rock. Thank you all so much for all the new memberships. Wow, 44 months. Thank you so much, NANA. I love those milestone memberships. See how long people have been around, have been members and supported the channel. You guys rule. But thank you all very much. It's been an absolute blast, and I am back. I'm back from the trip, and I hope to see y'all active in the Discord, because the Discord is there. And I know I try to respond as often as I can. Earl, thank you so much. Earl's been a member for 22 months. Thank you so much, Earl. You rock. Lieutenant Jedi has been a member for 17 months. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate all that support. Elizabeth, this is very true. I do enjoy your regular content and your live streams. Watch them daily. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. You rule. Tina Jones has been a member for 40 months. Thank you so much, Tina. You are a gem. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we're going to get back to work. So like I said, I actually have a script that I need to finish up. It's this really, really quick one. And then I'm on to the next one. And we're going to put it all together. And probably the next one, when Tony's available, Tony and I will chat, and we're gonna do some dive into this, with some real dive, some maybe do some speculation and maybe get some feedback from all of you, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this stuff. But I need to make sure that all of you get caught up to where we are. So that means the book, that means the ebook. There is an audio book as well, and then of course the what's going on the Discord, all the stuff that we can update you with there. So, and I'll most likely do a live stream where we can watch the Netflix special, the documentary, in the Discord. And I hope you all will join me for that. I will announce that in the Discord, so you can see that. Wicked Pissa, thank you so much. Been a member for 11 months. You rock. I do appreciate that. A lot of Irish love there. So, all right, I think that's going to be it. So thank you all so much for joining us, for joining me, because I'm here. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your weekend. New events coming up. As I said, I've got new content coming up, but also I've got a staged event coming up on Tuesday the 3rd, which is after my birthday. And then, of course, Raven said, I have no clue about this treasure hunt thing. Well, then, Raven, okay, fantastic. Then go back and check out the last live stream that I did with PhD Tony. We did a live stream, and it will give you all the details that you need to know. I'll break down everything in that. Okay, so check that out, and I hope that you all will join me for the announcement in Discord. You'll see it, and then of course possibly an upcoming showing on Truth Wanted, and then of course Stage of Reason was back on June 15th. That'll be in the morning on Sunday, and I hope that'll be awesome. And thank you so much, Elizabeth S, for the happy birthday. I do appreciate that. Yep, turning the big 4-5, 45. 45. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Have a good Sunday. I hope you all do well, and I will see you on the next content. As always, be safe, be excellent to each other, and together we can bridge the divide. Hopefully, in the future, to some treasure. See what I did there? See ya.